Patrick Kane is on fire right now, guys. This is unreal. This guy has now scored 5 goals and gotten 7 points in his last 3 games, and it couldn't have come at a better time. The trade deadline is near, and we have to find out where we think this guy's going to end up.
This is one of my favorite players in the entire NHL, so I want to see him go to a good team. I want to see him to compete for one more Stanley Cup run for this guy. I think the biggest team that are involved or heavily involved right now are the New York Rangers.
Which is kind of crazy because we basically saw the Rangers go out and add Tyler Mott, and more importantly than that, add Vladimir Tarasenko, which made it seem like at this point it was all done for Patrick Kane and made it tough to see how the Rangers were going to be able to fit in a guy like Patrick Kane. But you know what? The more I look into it, I still think it's possible. They definitely can make the money work here.
Yeah, they will have to do another 3-way trade, I believe. Their cap room is very, very tight right now. And of course, everyone knows about the $10.5 million cap hit that Patrick Kane holds. But for this player, if they can get this player, this is going to be huge for this team. As you saw, they already added Vladimir Tarasenko. As of right now, what I think about Vladimir Tarasenko on the Rangers, it has definitely elevated. I think it had definitely had a more positive influence for Artemi Panarin more than anything.
Oh, he's playing already.
Vladimir Tarasenko, I gotta be honest, I think he has looked exactly how I see him in the St. Louis Blues, kind of useless. But to be honest, I think for his friend, moral support being there, Artemi Panarin is looking like a top 5 player again. And of course, everyone knows about the chemistry that those two had, Patrick Kane and Artemi Panarin had when they were playing together in Chicago. So they're also friends as well. So it's gonna elevate both of those players.
Yeah, I think the package is going to involve having to get rid of Vitaly Kravtsov, which, I mean, this team's been looking to do for a while. It's clear he hasn't worked out for the Rangers. He's not a great fit there at all. And they might not even have to part with Lafreniere or Kakko to make this work. But Hohen's right. They're most likely going to have to get a third team involved to eat up some cap. And Chicago's going to have to agree to retain 50% of this contract for the rest of this year. But you know what? They can make it. And if they do, Patrick Kane will be a happy guy because right now, as of rumors, that is the only team he is willing to accept a trade for.
Yeah, I mean, if the Chicago Blackhawks were to get Vitaly Kravtsov, I think that's a good player to get because right now, we all know Vitaly Kravtsov has not been happy with the situation with the New York Rangers, his opportunity, exactly like Nils Lundqvist, right? Just weren't getting the opportunity in the lineup because it's such a stacked lineup with Filip Hito and you got the Kakko and the Lafreniere and all those players.
Yeah, there's no room in the top
There's just no room for a young player, especially on that team. The New York Rangers top 9 is very, very established. They got Vincent Trocheck this offseason.
Yeah, basically, if the Rangers go through with this, though, and do try to acquire Patrick Kane, they're literally going all in, like completely all in. They're not going to have any prospects. They're not going to have any picks left between the 2 trades that they just made. And it's just going to be wild. And I mean, I hope for their sake it works because I haven't seen a team go that all in a long time.
But I think with the New York Rangers, I think they're in a good position to do this. I feel like right now, if they were to make this Patrick Kane trade, I feel like this team is a Stanley Cup winner. I just don't see any other team be better than this team.
It's hard to always say because, I mean, a lot of teams go and get stacked up at the deadline, and sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it does. You never know. I've seen teams load up and then lose in 4 games like Tampa did to Columbus. It can happen.
That is fair, but let me remind you, Patrick Kane is a 3-time Stanley Cup winner. This guy, unlike other rentals in other years, this player, unlike Claude Giroux, who has never won a cup, he has been to a cup final once, but he has never actually won the cup. Patrick Kane has won 3 Stanley Cups, and I believe he's been to 1 Stanley Cup final as well, along with that. So this guy is mega experienced. He knows what it takes to go through a run like that. It's gonna brush off the younger players like Filip Hito and Lafreniere as well. So he's going to make a huge impact on this team. And you saw in the last 2 games in United Center how he played in those 2 games. When he wants to turn up, he'll turn it up.
Oh, it's very clear to me that Patrick Kane is not cooked. He has a lot left in the tank. And it's more, if anything, that he just hasn't been trying his very best this year. He's kind of been taking shifts off and he hasn't been putting his whole 100% effort in because he knows the team's not very good. But I do think if he went to a team like this, a true contender, he would really light the league on fire and have a really good playoff run for this team.
Yeah, I mean, he's not very motivated, right? To start the season, like you said, the team was not going anywhere. They know that they're in a clear rebuild. But this past couple games, I think he had some motivation to actually want to be like, do I want to be like Patrick Kane again? Okay, I'll be a vintage Patrick Kane again. So he went out and did that.
True. But unfortunately for the Rangers, they're not the only team interested. Yes, in the end, it's going to be Patrick Kane who decides where he goes because he does have a full no movement clause. He chooses his own destiny. But there has been other teams reportedly very interested in acquiring Patrick Kane. And I'm going to start off with the Vegas Golden Knights right now. Ever since Mark Stone was ruled out for the rest of the season and put on the LTIR, they opened up a ton of cap space. And this is a team who is not afraid to go for it. We have seen how many years now where they just get rid of all their prospects, all their picks, and they go all in trying to win the cup year after year. Sure, they haven't won yet, but they still have a very formidable roster and a team that is still atop their division.
Historically, they have been trying to make the big splash every trade deadline, every offseason, Pietrangelo and all these guys. But it's ultimately going to be Patrick Kane's decision whether he wants to go there. He has the no movement clause, and he has the last say on where he wants to go. We all know, me and Scott agreed that New York Rangers are the front runner. We all believe that this is the number one team and probably the only team that he wants to go.
He's made it pretty clear.
He made it really clear on that Vladimir Tarasenko comment that, when Tarasenko got traded there. But Vegas has a chance. I mean, it's a good team there, but I just don't feel like they're an elite team. That's the problem. And for Patrick Kane, if I were to think about that team, if I were to go there, how much of an impact would I make on that team?
See, I look at it like this. I think he is kind of the missing piece type of player that they need for this team. One, he's got a lot of experience, like Hohen stated earlier with the Rangers, but also this team is missing one really, really solid winger to complete this team. They have some pretty solid centers down the middle. When you got guys like Jack Eichel, you can run Carlson, and then you have Waugh. These guys, they have options, right? It's not a bad center core. They just need some wingers who can actually dominate the play with the puck. And I think that Eichel and Kane together would be a really dynamic combo.
I mean, it could be, but the thing is, I would expect Mark Stone to come back during the playoffs.
Well,
right?
That's their expectation,
right?
Is basically they're not going to have to worry about the contract issues because they will be getting Patrick Kane for the regular season. Stone won't be playing, and then when the playoffs come, he'll come back. They'll have Kane, and then they'll just have one super stack line, and then they can put the Marchessault, Carlson, and Smith line together, and their team is looking pretty formidable. And we can't forget about that defense. This defense is still a top 5 defense in the league.
Okay. How about the Dallas Stars? I believe this is another team that is very interested in this player. But what are the chances you think that they can acquire this player?
I honestly don't know what Dallas would be giving up in a package for this. I would assume that it would be similar to what the other guys are, looking at a first-round pick, find a really solid prospect between 2020 and 2022 that they could throw in there, basically. But this is also for a rental player. I don't know if he'd re-sign there. Personally, I don't think he would because, if he's going to be a free man, I think one way or another he's going to end up on a team he really wants to go to. And yes, the one thing about the Stars that is nice is they are right atop their division right now, and they look like one of, if not the best team right now in the West as of this point. So it would make sense from a winning perspective, but it just doesn't feel like the right fit.
Personally, I mean, the Dallas Stars had a really hot start to the year, but I have seen their game drop off a little bit. I know they were trying to get Tyler Bertuzzi at one point, but Detroit's actually been pretty competitive lately.
Yeah, they don't want to sell him
anymore. I don't think they want to sell him anymore. So that guy is already out of the question. So now they're probably targeting and looking at Patrick Kane as an option now on that right side. Now the question is, again, does Patrick Kane want him? Waiving some no movement clause to go to Dallas Stars, even for rental purposes? I don't know.
I think it would only come down to if a trade couldn't be worked with the Rangers. I think then Dallas would be a true consideration. Probably one of, if not the second or third favorites to get him at that point.
I'm going to be honest with you. With the Dallas Stars, I personally don't think their forward depth is that deep.
That's why they need Patrick Kane.
No, but even with Patrick Kane, it's not that deep. If you look at the first line's already established.
Yeah,
right?
they're not changing the first line.
They're not changing that first line.
They'd look to put Kane with Sagan on the second line.
And Sagan's not elite. He's not that good.
No, but he's not a terrible player.
He's not.
And he does have experience.
Another team that's interested is the Oilers. And if he were to go to that team, the weakest thing that's on this team is the right wing right now. Okay?
Yeah.
And if he were to go to this team, he would instantly be the best right winger on this team.
I think that one's very unlikely. I think they're putting their eggs in the basket for Carlson, and if they do that, they're not going to have the assets or the money to go for Patrick Kane after that.
But if they can't get this But see, this is the thing. A lot of rumors from Elliot Friedman has stated that the Oilers are very interested. They have laid down an offer for this player. And one of the resources that Patrick Kane is going to refer to is Duncan Keith. Duncan Keith has played there, and he has already, and he's going to be the guy that he's going to call on whether this is a good city to kind of move to, and for the short term. He's not going to sign in Edmonton past this year. He's just going to come here as a rental. But right now, the Oilers is a very it's a contending team as well. It's not as good personally. I know they're not as good as the New York Rangers, but they're also a contending team. They should be, especially having a chance to play with one of the top best players in the world. So,
yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to say. I know it's Hohen's dream. This guy is a huge Patrick Kane fan and an even bigger Oilers fan. So the combination just gets him ready to jump through the roof right here. But I really think that they're going to go in for a defenseman here. This team really lacks any good defense. And sure, Hohen's right. They don't have a lot of right wings.
This is one of the things where it's overlooked. The Oilers are, I believe, 10-1 since we have this Vincent Desharnais in our lineup. So let's be real here. This is one of the defensive demons that we've really been missing, right?
This sixth defenseman is not going to save your season. I'm sorry.
But it has improved, and we actually don't really need to look for a defenseman right now. So we should just go in we should go at a Hail Mary and just go straight for Patrick Kane.
Yeah, because clearly, win every game 6-5.
Clearly, Yamamoto, I don't care for any of our right wingers on our team. So honestly, we need a right winger right now.
Well, I think Hohen's smoking the good stuff there, thinking the Oilers are going to get him. But I guess we'll find out in the near future. Honestly, I just hope that we find out before the trade deadline because I'm way too anxious, and this is way too big of a player to have to keep waiting on news day in, day out. And until next time, guys, I hope you guys have a great day. And let us know in the comments below who you think is going to end up with Patrick Kane or if he stays in Chicago. Till next time, take care.
Bye.